whether you're in a place where you're in midlife and your hormones are doing you dirty and you don't know which direction is up or down, or you are grinding at your work and you're wondering, like, when am I supposed to live exactly? Is it just for the week of vacation, or like when I retire? Like, what's happening? How am I living my life here? This episode is for you. Welcome to The Real Dish Show, the place where we peel back the onion on your fabulously fit life. I'm Chef Maria, the fit foodie. And with over 30 years of experience in the health and wellness world, I'm here to guide you on this journey to uncover the keys to living a vibrant, balanced life. Whether you're seeking practical tips for nutrition, fitness, mental well-being, or simply craving insightful conversations with experts in the field, you've come to the right place. Now get ready to embark on a holistic adventure toward a healthier, happier you and make shift happen for good. Well, hey everybody, welcome back to The Real Dish. It's so good to be here with you. I'm Chef Maria, the Fit Foodie, and this is our new season, episode 148. If you are just joining me for the first time, I invite you to go back and listen to some of the old episodes, 147 of them. You can binge, listen, watch those without any effect on your diet. And I just hope you do, because it'll give you just a little flavor for what you can expect moving forward. But I'm so glad you're here. Today, we are going to be diving into a topic that is very, very near and dear to my heart, and that is all about aging well. I just got back from a almost 2 month, yes, 2 month trip to France and Spain. And let me tell you something. As a holistic nutrition coach, brain health coach, you know, chefy person, wellness educator, author, and somebody that's been living in breathing this whole world of wellness for the last 30 years, it pretty much just flipped my idea of healthy living on its head. And it really made me double think what it means to live and age well. This beautiful, slow, sensual, and dare I say, very rebellious approach looks to me as though it's a more joyful one than what I am seeing around me now that I'm back in the US. Because let's be real for a second. If you described the way most people live in the United States to someone in the south of France or the heart of, of Spain, they'd probably blink at you in disbelief and go, "Why? You mean to tell me that you eat in your car? You eat standing up? You are worried about fat? You're all about like coffee to go? What? You're eating alone at your desk so that you can work more? What are you talking about?" This idea of grinding all day and wearing stress like it's a badge of honor is so counterintuitive to somebody from Western Europe. Now, picture the opposite. People eating in the streets at the earliest reservation was 8 p.m., not 8 a.m., 8 p.m. for dinner. That's the earliest. Seating goes all the way until, like, in some cases, till 11 p.m. People drinking wine for lunch and dinner, devouring flaky croissants and bread and all the cheese and all the hamon without guilt, and dessert basically, yes, at every meal. And smoking. I mean, I'm not saying that you should smoke, but it's still like everywhere. And somehow they're surviving and thriving. So I just had to scratch my head and go, what is it here? Like, what is it? How are they doing it? How are they aging well despite what we've been told are the bad habits? And whether you're, you know, just kind of in a place where you're in midlife and your hormones are doing you dirty and you don't know which direction is up or down, or you are grinding at your work and you're wondering, like, when am I supposed to live exactly? Is it just for the week of vacation, or like when I retire, like what's happening? How am I living my life here? This episode is for you because it turns out they've cracked the code. And I'm going to distill that down in these top 5 lessons that I learned from this life-changing trip. Lessons that I believe can radically shift how you think about aging well and thriving, whether you're in your 30s or your 60s. This episode is for you. And if you're ready to live better, not just longer, let's dig in. Lesson number 1 is eat like it matters because it does. And so this is where my heart lives. It's the food, of course. I'm going to be the first person to observe like how people are eating. I walked through grocery stores and I ate at little bodegas and I ate at, Michelin star restaurants and I ate in the street and I ate in parks. And here's what I observed. In both France and Spain, meals are rituals. They are not inhaled in the car between errands. People sit, they converse, they talk to each other without their electronics, and they savor and they eat slowly. The bread fresh from the bakery every morning. The butter, and they eat butter and cheese. It's cultured. It's probiotic rich. It's seasonal produce. It's local. They're shopping at the markets all the time. And there's no shame in a glass of wine or a rich cheese because it's all about balance and pleasure, not overindulgence. I never once saw anybody drunk in the street. And I know that, like, I really look at these things because to me, I don't drink a lot of alcohol. In fact, I've basically just really cut it down to a very occasional thing. But if I don't think there's any shame in having a glass of wine if you can handle it. The problem is when people get used to drinking three, four, five, six in a sitting, and then they want to drive. See, that's the problem. So that's the kicker here. It's really about balance and pleasure and enjoyment and slow food. I didn't see anyone over obsessing about macros or the latest food trend. I didn't see $18 smoothies. In fact, I saw very high quality food that was very affordable in most places. Sure, Paris is a little bit more expensive, but if you go to the marché, which is, the market that happens in the street, you can get the most beautiful fresh food and produce for a fraction of what you would find it here. So, what I did see though was older adults, people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, walking daily to the market with their carts and cooking real meals and unbelievable energy, beautiful skin, glowing, joints moving, it wasn't, I barely saw a wheelchair. In fact, I barely saw an overweight or obese person either because they are just so active all the time. To me, this is really the key. Food is nourishment and joy. When you make a beautiful, relaxed, intentional dedication to your food and you use and focus on real ingredients, your body thrives. It's not about the restriction, it's about connection. And the food in Europe, very, very high quality. They don't allow genetically modified ingredients. They don't allow a lot of the preservatives and artificial colors and flavorings that we have. They don't allow the, incessant bioengineering that we're seeing all over the place. Like it is just a different approach and they eat in a way that is conducive to their whole health. So I think we can take a real, nod from that and use that in our daily lives. And does it mean that we have to read labels? Yes, it does. We do, but we can also lean into fresh, seasonal, local food as much as possible. And that, my friends, can probably solve the majority of our food issues. Lesson number 2 is that movement is built in, not scheduled. Okay. In the US, we have to make time to work out, is the general idea, because rarely will you see people just walking to run their errands or going to meet up with their friends. That's done in a car. So the workout is what gets scheduled. And over there, movement is just part of the day. I walked an average, and I'm not even joking. You can look at my movement app, over 18,000 steps on average a day. I had one day that I walked 30,000 steps. And it was just to get around, to explore, to shop, to take in the beauty around me. And I saw 80-year-olds dancing in the plazas in France and in Spain. I saw women in their 60s. I met a group that was on the Paris train, and they had just gotten back from 5 days of riding their bikes through the French countryside. I passed by elderly women that were pushing their carts uphill. And these are hills that most Americans would not even walk up, let alone cart their groceries. And it hit me. This is why they're aging better. It's that their bodies stay active, not because of boot camps or gym memberships or Pilates, but it's because their lifestyle requires it. A lot of people don't have cars. Cars are still very expensive and very much a luxury. I mean, a gallon of gas is about $8. So it's really more about public transportation and getting around using your two legs. And so I think if we integrate movement into our day instead of just, siloing it into a workout, or, I sit all day and then I get my 1 hour of movement, like that is what makes the difference. So you can take the stairs, you can dance in the kitchen, you can, take a break and go for a walk. It doesn't have to be a gym. It can be a cobblestone street. We just need to move more. And I know that there is a lot of conversation about resistance training, and I am a big fan of that myself, especially in midlife. We tend to lose muscle mass, and we have to make a conscious effort to build our muscle, our lean muscle mass. And I'm going to tell you, you don't necessarily need to do that in a gym either. I think the whole time that I was there, I used a gym maybe like 7 or 8 times in the 7 weeks that I was there. So once a week, I would find myself in a gym. And the rest of the time, I had a resistance band with me. So I would use the resistance band, or I would do push ups or sit ups or pull ups. There are a lot of outdoor gyms in Europe, and it's really fun. Like I did a few workouts just outside. So the point is that you can make that activity part of your daily. You can get on a bike and ride. You can, I saw a lot of people swimming and people, you know, going to water aerobics classes and things like that. So here it is, just move. Do what brings your body joy, even if it's just dancing in the streets. So, number three is social connection. Now, I think that this is one of the biggest missing links. We talk about blue zones a lot in the wellness world, and that's what's central to those long living populations. It's community. It's feeling like they have people that they can surround themselves with. Doesn't always have to be family, because not everybody has family nearby, but it is a community of like-minded people who enjoy doing things together. For example, in the north of Spain, there are groups of people that get together, and they're cooking clubs, and they get together and they'll bring food, or they'll cook together and, drink together and just have a good old time. You see a lot of families in the street that are together. It was so awesome. We attended a festival in Alicante, Spain, and during that festival, they would set up these massive tables where people from the neighborhood would come together because they were all there to connect. So they're not just aging, they're thriving together. And it's so nice to see people of all different generations, not just, one group, age group together, but all different generations. They're included together. The older people are seen, they're esteemed, they're the elders, they're the wise people that pass on, you know, the valuable lessons, and that human touch of togetherness is priceless. Right now, as we speak, my husband and I are living with my 83-year-old dad and my 24-year-old daughter. So we are three generations living in a household. And I can tell you, it has been so good for all of us, not just my dad, not just my daughter, but for us too. Because loneliness, especially after 50, is one of the biggest predictors of disease. Aging can feel isolating. And the lesson here is that connection is really not just good for your heart, it's an aging health strategy. So invest in relationships, make time to gather, say yes to the lunch or dinner invite. And I'm going to basically guarantee that your soul and your longevity will thank you. Number four is stress. Okay. Stress is really the ager, it's the real ager, period. So let's talk about pace of life. I mean, in the US, we're addicted to productivity, and I am not ashamed to say I was the number one person in this story. Okay. I used to be a absolute hustler. If my schedule wasn't full every single hour of the day, I felt like I was slacking. And who was watching me? I own my own business. Like, I don't have somebody telling me you're slacking, but it was me. The hustle never stops because you always feel like if I could just make 10% more, I'd be happier. My friends, this is absolutely a lie. 10% more just means you're going to spend more. And then you're going to get used to a different standard of living where you're just more, more, more. But in France and Spain, they are not about more, they're about quality. So the afternoons, when it's hot, they are not grinding in the street. They are having a siesta. It's nap time. Okay. Shops are even closed for a few hours. And you couldn't even go and run errands if you wanted to. People take lunch seriously. They're eating for a couple hours. Weekends are for rest and joy, not Costco runs, not working more and catching up on email. They are with family and they are, together. And they're really together. I didn't see a lot of people on their phones when they were together. I didn't see a lot of people distracted by technology at the table. In fact, I think I may have seen it once, and I don't even know if they may have been tourists for all I know. But I just felt my cortisol drop being there, being around that energy. My digestion improved, my sleep. Wow, best sleep of my life, even though I was sleeping in different beds all the time, as we moved around. I felt creative. I felt like that creative juice running. And I wrote a lot of new ideas for recipes and wrote a lot and just observed and documented my thoughts. All of those things like made a difference. So I'm going to tell you this. I think presence is the best present. It's the best gift and it doesn't cost a thing. If we think that we're being more productive by working harder to make more money, I just really wish we would question that because what does that mean? Does that mean we're just going to buy more stuff? Does that mean we're just going to have more shipments from Amazon and more time to compare ourselves to other people? Like, I don't know if that's the best use of our money and resources. In fact, I'm going to tell you it's not. At least it's not for me. And you might question that. You might think, well, do I really need that collection of, dishware that I spent a lot of money on? Like, I don't know. I maybe just having one set is enough. Like we stayed in quite a few Airbnbs where there would be four cups and four plates and four bowls. And it seemed to be enough. We would just wash them and reuse them. Same with laundry, no dryers. We would wash our clothes and then hang them in the sun. And I don't know, it got fun after, the first time. Like it wasn't drudgery. It was just like, I'm taking care of the things that matter. So let's think about what really stresses us out. Is it doing laundry or is it really like the grind of infinite email? Things that make you go, hmm. Your nervous system needs you to take a break. So I would say protecting your peace, slowing down, breathing between the bites, and taking real breaks is more of what we need to age well, especially in midlife. And number five, last but not least, is aging is celebrated. It's not feared. And this might have been the most powerful lesson of all. In the US, aging often feels like something to fight and deny and Botox into submission. But in France and Spain, there's pride in getting older. I'm not saying that people don't take care of themselves, but they do in a way that is proactive. There was one experience that I had in particular that really impacted me, and it was when I was in Evian, France. Evian is the source of the actual Evian water that takes 15 years to flow down the glaciers into the spring where the water is harvested. And this water was found to be very efficient in helping with inflammation and arthritis. And I went to a spa in Evian where it's a water spa. So you'll find people obviously drinking the water, but bathing in the water, doing water aerobics, swimming, sauna, steam, doing water jet therapy where, intense water jets would be used to massage achy joints and muscles. And a quiet room for rest and rejuvenation. And these places are not luxury spas. They're places that people have memberships to. There was a little gym next door, which you found a lot of people of all ages using. But more importantly, people were exercising in a way it was like just proactive therapy versus like they're trying to kill themselves losing weight or building unrealistic muscle that's not necessary. Like that's an aesthetic thing. That's not a necessary for longevity thing. So it really changed how I look at all of that. And I really saw that there's pride in getting older and a reverence to the elders. Women wear their hair like silver crowns. Lines on your face, they're not flaws, they're stories, they're your experience. And there's elegance in that. There's joy and wisdom. I felt seen as a woman in her 50s and I didn't feel invisible. I felt like I was just like a youthful part of society's fabric, not just like a foregone conclusion. And it made me realize how we feel about aging directly impacts how we age. If we see it as a gift and we treat our bodies with more reverence, and if we embrace it, we'll stop trying to shrink ourselves. And that's how people will treat us. The more we revere it and feel like it's a privilege and do it well and take care of our bodies and honor our bodies and our minds and our peace, then others will see it the same and we become age less in a way. So I say own it. Own your age, own this time in your life, own your story and nourish it, celebrate it, let it radiate because your story can help empower someone else that has not gotten to that point yet. Somebody that is yet to come on this journey. So here are my final thoughts and takeaways. Aging well is really not about a lot of money, biohacking, 5 a.m. spin classes. It's about how we see ourselves in this life and eating with pleasure with the people we love, moving with purpose, connecting deeply, having less stress in our lives because we choose a lot of our stress, let's face it. And honoring the beauty of aging and living well and living with purpose and joy is really what quality of life is all about. It's not about the money because even the richest people in the world will tell you 10% more. When does having a $50 million mansion say 10% more will get you happy? My friends, nothing will get you happier if you're in that point of life. It's really about being happy with what you have. The lessons that I will take with me for the rest of my life that are in my heart and in my bones are the ones that I just shared with you. And I hope you will bring them into your life too. And maybe that can bring you a little bit more joy and peace in your heart and your mind. So if you love this episode, would you share it? And maybe share it with a friend who needs a little nudge to slow down and live better. And don't forget that you are the chef of your best life. So you get to make the decisions and you get to adjust the soup and the sauce. Okay. No one's going to do it for you. If you love this, leave a review. That means the world to me. And tag me on Instagram at Chef Mireya. I'd love to hear your thoughts and see how you're embracing this whole inspired way of thriving. And until next time, stay well, live fully, and take a nap. I got you. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal health advice. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice, and the views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or the management. Hey, it's Chef Mireya, and thank you so much for tuning into The Real Dish. It means a lot to me that you're here. I hope today's episode has inspired you to take some proactive steps towards a healthier and happier you. Because just remember, bite-sized changes can lead to big transformations. But before you go, would you do me a big favor? If you found value in this episode, would you share it with 2 of your closest friends and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode? And if you really want to make this girl's day, would you leave a 5-star review? I do hear an angel gets its wings every time you do that. But really, this helps us spread the message of real life wellness to even more listeners. And everybody could use a healthy portion of that, right? Now, until next time, remember, you are the chef of your own kitchen. So feed your life well, make good decisions, prioritize your well-being, and remember, you need to take care of you because we only get one of you and you are a gift to everyone around you. So until next week, this is Chef Mireya signing off. And just remember, we're here to cook up a good time every single week. We'll see you soon.